Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and a special edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT, from Wxrisk.com, the captain of chaos, the colonel of confusion, the commander of catastrophe. We got ourselves a major East Coast snowstorm to talk about, and I guess in some areas, some places, going to be a blizzard. So, as my friend Frankie would say, Newfoundland, get your pizza and Chinese food ready because we're going to need it. We'll be talking exclusively about the historic East Coast snowstorm. This will go into the record books. You know, there are certain snowstorms which qualify as a historic snowstorm or major one, which gets studied a lot. A lot of maps and data reports get written about for years and years on end. This is going to qualify as one of them. So even if you're living in New York City or Boston or England, you're not going to catch this one. It's still going to be a significant snowstorm. So we'll start by taking a look at the radar here, and this is the radar as of 5 p.m. A lot of activity all in this area, as you can see down in here. But that's just the beginning of the system. There's a lot more coming to it than that, but the radar is developing quite nicely, so that's good. This here is our surface map, and you can see the low pressure area down here developing very, very nicely. Down in this area here, this is system. There's our stationary front. Here's the Arctic high as one of them, and another piece is up this way. But notice with the winds here, folks. See the winds? Look at the winds out of Richmond and Northern Virginia, D.C., Pennsylvania. We're still getting in north winds here. So we have a little area of low pressure, which is way off the map in this direction, but we're still getting cold north winds, keeping the cold air in place. And that's one of the reasons why. Look at the temperatures at Raleigh. Now, the temperatures down here in central North Carolina, 41 degrees. That's above freezing. So what's the big deal? But look at the dew point. They're in the teens to around 20. And look down by Charlotte, dew point of 18, 25, stuff like that. So when the precipitation starts, the temperatures will collapse and the dew point will come up and the saturation will be around freezing. So that's why many areas in North Carolina will see some snow out of this. So just want to point that out to you. Don't be fooled by the temperatures. Now, the key for Central Virginia and Richmond, and this is the most interesting area, not just because I live there, but also because in terms of how this might play out one way or the other. The key is the dry slide. If it stays east of 95, more towards Hampton Roads and in that direction, then Richmond could see a top 3 or 4 best snowstorm of all times. But we don't know if that's going to happen yet. A slight shift in the dry slot, 20 miles, 30 miles in either direction, will have huge implications for eastern and central Virginia, and then up across the middle peninsula, the northern, and then the far eastern portions of the northern neck, and into the Delmarva as well. So the dry slot is going to be a big deal. Now, this is the European model here, and this is very similar. You can use any of the short-range models for this, but you can use the European model for this. And this is as of 7 a.m., as you can see right here, Friday morning, okay? Now, this is the leading edge of the snow. Boop, 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 right here. There's Roanoke, down this way. See it? Okay, like that. Now, this is all super heavy snow here. This is the 0 line, 850 line. That represents heavy snow. So all this is snow, all this is snow, and then this here is ice in this area in here. Why is that ice? Because it's 32 degrees or colder at the surface, but above the ground, it's still too warm for snow. So this is all ice up in this area in here. But this is at 7 a.m. We expect the snow to be reaching Roanoke, but not at Lynchburg. To be pushed past Raleigh, but not much past it. So this gives you an idea. Now, only a few hours later, here's the European. This is for 4 p.m. I'll get my marker here so you can see it. This is as of 4 p.m. There you go, on a Friday afternoon. Now look at the leading edge of the snow. It's by D.C. Now it's snowing like hell in Richmond at that point. The snow line is already east here, and all this is getting really coming in fast. Now here's our this is our ice line. See this? This is all ice, 32 degrees. This is the snow line right here. Okay, so all this is ice. Wow. The northern North Carolina, northern Greensville, Spartanburg, the northern portions of South Carolina, and then Charlotte. That's an ice storm, folks, and it could be a pretty significant one as well. Now, to the north of that 0 line, as you can see right in here, here's the 0 line again, so you can see it. Right in here, there's Greensboro, there's Raleigh. This is all heavy snow coming in here. As you can see, Roanoke, heavy snow. Lynchburg is moderate heavy snow. This is all heavy snow up in this area as well. Kentucky getting slammed. So it's all coming this direction at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I know we take a look at some of the model data. So that just gives you how it's going to be spreading. Now, this is the 6Z. This came out at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Actually came in around, based upon a 1, 2 a.m. data, it actually came in around 6 a.m. This Thursday morning. And again, we can see some really useful points in here. This here, look at this look at this tan stuff. That's 30 inches of snow here, folks. Now, right here is Richmond. You can see this right here. Let me put it up. Boop, there's Richmond right there. You can see it. Now, western Chesterfield County, that's the blue stuff. That's 18 inches of snow there. And look at this, here's Charlottesville in the brown, 20 to 25 inches. Down here is Lynchburg, around 19 inches. You know, Roanoke gets a little less on this map here, but maybe not. And then you can see, look at the light blue here. Again, that's 19 inches all the way down to Danville. That's impressive, to say the least. And again, you can see significant snow down to Asheville and the far, far northern corners of South Carolina, and then also here in eastern Kentucky as well. So now to the north, Philly gets around 9-10 inches of snow, and then not much in New York City at all. The deadline is right there. Pittsburgh, you get a few inches, but not a lot unless you're headed down towards the Maryland-Pennsylvania border. So very, very significant snowstorm on the 6Z GFS. All right, now this here was the 12Z NAM, which is the warmest of all the models, and some of the TV stations and the folks at Wakefield continue to use this model like it's a cheap pair of shoes, and they continue to argue that there's going to be some sort of rain here, and this is, you know, in Central Virginia. I think that argument is ludicrous. I think it is. The data does not support this. This is the warmest of all the models here, and you can see the dark red area in Richmond is at 10 to 15 inches of snow here. That's what that is. You can clearly see it. I mean, the connection is quite noticeable here to here. That's what it is. So I'm not sure what they're looking at. So it's certainly not 6 to 8. You can go against the data if you want to, and far be it for me to say they might be right. It's always possible, but I just don't see it. Now, of course, you look at Hampton Roads, and you can see very much lighter snow down in this area here, as you can see. And then look at Williamsburg, Newport News, big differences right here. The Middle Peninsula, a lot more snow. And look at the Northern Neck, a lot less snow here, and up here you've got 15 inches. The same thing along the Marva. Here's Ocean City, Maryland. Look at this. So that's what, 4 or 5 inches of snow here. But if you go into Georgetown, southern Delaware, that's 10, 15 inches of snow in that area. So huge discrepancies right along this whole area in terms of the snow, and that's why this is all dependent on the dry slot. Now, this is the RGEM, which is the High Resolution Short Range Canadian. It is one of my secrets. It is one of the models which gets overlooked a lot. It's called the RGEM. All right, and this is the 12Z run. And again, you can see this is a nice compromise model. You can see there's the 15-inch line, and it goes right into Richmond, as you can see right in here. You can see that 14, 15 inches. And now this only goes out to 48 hours, so there's more snow beyond this event. So this is not the complete event, but it's a very nice start package. It doesn't have the same warm bias that the NAM does, and it doesn't have the same wet bias. So it's a really good snowstorm model, one we get within 36 to 48 hours. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Now this is the 12Z Gfs Ensemble. Now notice here for a second, let me go back and to here. Very similar, see that? That's the 6Z. And that's the 12Z. Now as a meteorologist, this is what you want to see. This is a consistency. Again, look at the light brown here in around the DC area, which represents, as we saw, 25 to 30 inches of snow. And the dark brown in here, that's all 20 to 25 inches. The dark brown gets action to Amelia. So you folks in Amelia, good googly moogly, and then up by Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg, Tappahannock, yeah, that's 20 to 25 inches of snow. Now in Richmond, again, the model has as an ensemble mean 16 inches of snow, 17 inches in Richmond and Chesterfield. But again, look at the amazing gradient right here. Look at this, folks. Can you believe this? Imagine having to forecast that, but we have to. Okay, that looks like, I don't know, 6 inches in Williamsburg, but you go over towards West Point Pass, there you're suddenly double digits. Very amazing gradient in a very short period of time. And again, lots of snow down in here still. Very consistent with the previous GFS runs. So you like to see that sort of consistency. Now this here is the European, the New European from this Thursday afternoon. Now it's colder than it's gotten colder again. The 12Z NAM was colder, the 12Z GFS was colder, and the European was colder. Now here's the snow line at 4 a.m. on Saturday. Now this is what, I guess the folks of the Weather Service are completely ignoring. And you can see it right here. See the purple line? I'll go over it again. Now there's Richmond right here. So 4 a.m., we're not even close to mixing. This is all snow. And according to the European, it is snowing like hell 4 a.m. Saturday in Central Virginia up to DC. This is dark, heavy stuff. Look at this. I mean, wow. Okay, and look at the precipitation shield. See how it does that? Now here's the low. You can see it like that. So here's the dry slot down in here. So the European does not punch the dry slot up into southeastern Virginia nearly as much as the other models do, and that's an important distinction. Okay, let me clear this out first. Now this here is 11 a.m. Saturday. Again, I've drawn in the rain snow line so you can see it very clearly right here. It's now in Norfolk, as you can see, and Ocean City, Maryland. So now interior southeastern Virginia is snowing pretty good, according to the European model. Maybe it's wrong. We'll see. And you can see here's the low, very nicely right there. And again, look at the precipitation shield, doing this, feeding it back into Richmond, into Charlottesville, into Rogue, into Lynchburg, into DC, into Baltimore, into Annapolis, into Philadelphia from the ocean, wrapping it in there. A classic monster nor'easter driving that snow all the way down to Greensboro and the western North Carolina mountains, almost to Charlotte. Very impressive, to say the least. And by 7 p.m. Saturday, what's going on? It's still snowing, according to the European. I mean, good googly moogly. Do I sound excited? Well, I should. Here's the rain snow line. Right in here you can see it. Oops, I'm going to mark it out so you can see it. East of now Norfolk. And again, moderate heavy snow in DC, Baltimore, towards Philly, Atlantic City, Richmond, Charlottesville, Lynchburg, Roanoke. It's pretty much ended in North Carolina. But look at this. You can still see the shape of this thing. Okay, and look, here's a dry slot over here, not over Richmond. So this is a big difference. This is a very big difference. Is it right? I think it is, but it might not be. Like I said, a small shift could have huge implications here. This is the European snowfall map, and this matches what we just saw. 35 inches up by Charlottesville, yeah, and Harrisonburg in the Shenandoah Valley. 30 inches in Farmville. 22 inch in Lynchburg, and you can see 22 inches out, 25 inches towards west of Lynchburg, towards Roanoke, DC, 26 to 28 inches. Richmond, Virginia, you can see it right in here, according to the thing. We can put the dot right here. That's where Richmond is. It's right on the edge of 24 inches. Now, the difference is, look at West Point. They're up to 15 inches, and you can see that the line is very, very tight right in here. So again, northern Delaware, 22 inches. Ocean City, Maryland, 5-6 inches. Big difference in a very short period of time. Amazing snow gradient. And we can see here, this is the 18Z NAM. All right, and notice where it does the dry slot. It has it up towards North Carolina and Southeast Virginia, but now it's not in Richmond at 7 a.m. Saturday. And you can still see the impressive precipitation shield, very heavy precipitation wrapping around all like this. You see that? That's what it's doing. So there we go. We'll see if that trend continues. If the NAM picks up on it in the next couple model runs. This is 10 p.m. Saturday evening on the NAM. And what do we see? Yes, it might still be snowing all the way down to Roanoke, Lynchburg, Richmond, Roanoke Rapids. Look at this. Look at this, folks. This is 10 p.m. Saturday evening. Wow. Okay, I'm just letting you know. This is what's coming up. Finally, here's the first call map. There it is. You can see the whole thing very nicely, I hope. The real tricky part, in Area D, the purple zone here, massive ice storm coming from Raleigh down towards Charlotte, that part of North Carolina, really bad. Asheville, big snow up in that way here. Interior Southeast Virginia, you'll have a burst of snow tomorrow. Then it'll go over to rain. You could see a few inches in Newport News and down towards maybe in Suffolk, but Isle of Wight County, places like that. Gloucester, you could see 3, 4, 5 inches of snow before it begins to mix over. So don't be surprised for that. I have 48 up to New York City. I'm being optimistic. That may not happen, but I'm going to stick with the 48. I don't have the 12 to 18 up to Philly. I may change that in the last call. Maybe. We'll see if that happens or not. And then finally, here are the start times. I'm not much to change in the start times here when the snow's coming in. So there we go. That's our special edition of This Week of Weather, Snowstorm of 2016. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm meteorologist DT. I'll talk to you soon.